Speaking Task 1. You will be asked a question about a familiar topic. You will then have 15 seconds to prepare your response, and 45 seconds to speak.
Do you prefer watching movies at home or in a cinema? Provide specific details to justify your preference.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
I prefer watching movies at home. One reason is that I feel more comfortable in my own space where I can pause the movie if I need a break or want a snack. Moreover, there's no concern over missing parts of the movie due to bathroom breaks or noisy crowds. With modern advancements in home entertainment systems, I do not miss the cinema experience as much, and an added advantage is that I can watch a film at any time that suits me. A cozy atmosphere, homemade snacks, and a flexible timeline make watching movies at home the preferable option for me.
Speaking Task 2. You will read a short paragraph and then listen to a conversation between two people. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the conversation between two people.
I don't like his proposal.
Why not? There are never many students in there.
But that's what I like about it, that it's never crowded.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a great place to study. I go there a lot. I'll read a book or bring my laptop computer and work on a paper for class. It's never very noisy.
You're able to get work done there?
Absolutely. In fact, I actually prefer it to the library as a place to study. And a lot of other students do too. We even study for our final exams there. And you can eat there while you work, something you can't do at the library.
Okay, but you don't actually like the food there, do you? I mean, he said...
Well, I don't think he's been there recently. I mean, it's true that it wasn't that great in the past, but I think it's a lot better now.
What's changed?
They have a new manager, and I guess she's made some improvements in the quality of the food. I was there last week, and the food was delicious.
Really?
Yeah, really. And the new manager has also added a lot of really healthful foods and snacks, so the food doesn't just taste good now, it's good for you too.
I'll have to try the place.
The woman expresses her opinion about the plan announced in the article. Briefly summarize the plan. Then state her opinion about the plan and explain the reason she gives for holding that opinion.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
The woman in the conversation is expressing her opinion about the plan to close the campus coffeehouse. She disagrees with the proposal and thinks it's a bad idea. She likes the coffeehouse because it's never crowded, which makes it a great place for studying. She often goes there to read books or work on papers for class. She finds it quiet and prefers it to the library as a study spot. She also mentions that many other students study there, even for their final exams. Moreover, the woman mentions that the food at the coffeehouse has improved recently, with a new manager making delicious and healthy options available. Overall, she believes that the coffeehouse should not be closed because it serves as a convenient and productive place for students to work and study.
Speaking Task 3. You will read a short paragraph about an academic topic, then listen to a lecture about it. You will have 50 seconds to read the paragraph. After, you will get a question about what you read and heard. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. You have 50 seconds to read. Start reading after the beep. Now listen to the lecture.
Let's compare the US and Japan as an example to illustrate the workings of the cultural dimensions theory. If we consider the dimension of individualism versus collectivism, the USA ranks high on individualism, which implies a society where ties between individuals are loose and everyone is expected to look after themselves and their immediate family. In contrast, Japan leans more towards collectivism, where people are integrated into strong, cohesive in-groups from an early age, with the expectation to protect group members in exchange for loyalty. On the dimension of uncertainty avoidance, Japan scores high, which means it's a society that maintains rigorous codes of belief and behavior and doesn't tolerate unorthodox ideas and behaviors. Unlike the US, where there is a greater degree of acceptance for new ideas and innovative products. Company meetings in Japan, for instance, are often taken as information-sharing sessions rather than decision-making platforms, because decisions are often made before the meeting. It's about maintaining harmony within the group, one of the main characteristics of a high uncertainty avoidance society.
Explain how the concept of cultural dimensions theory is illustrated by comparing the cultural dimensions of the US and Japan.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
The cultural dimensions theory is a tool by which cultures can be compared against 6 key aspects, as outlined in the text. In the lecture, this theory is illustrated by comparing the cultural dimensions of the US and Japan. The lecturer specifically contrasts the dimensions of individualism versus collectivism and uncertainty avoidance, where both countries show stark differences. In the U.S., societies lean towards individualism, signifying looser ties between individuals who are assumed to care for themselves and their close families, whereas Japan leans more towards collectivism, where people are deeply integrated into cohesive groups from an early age. Regarding uncertainty avoidance, Japan, a high-scoring society, exhibits strong codes of belief and behavior and limited tolerance for unorthodox ideas, opposite to the US's higher acceptance for innovation and new ideas. This comparison effectively demonstrates the breadth and applicability of the cultural dimensions theory.
You will listen to a lecture about an academic topic. After, you will get a question about what you heard. You will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and then 60 seconds to give it. Now listen to the lecture.
When people are in difficult situations, sometimes they experience feelings of helplessness or psychological pain. So what do? They unconsciously use strategies called defense mechanisms to protect themselves psychologically from their painful emotions. Let's say a woman has a pet dog. She's had this dog for a long time, and he's kept her company and guarded her for years, but one day he runs away. This woman looks everywhere and asks other people if they've seen her dog, but she just can't find him. Now, she feels helpless and sad because she misses her dog. So she'll unconsciously find ways to deal with her painful feelings. One defense mechanism she might use is fantasy. With fantasy, the woman uses her imagination. So instead of just feeling helpless and sad about her lost dog, she invents a happy story in her mind. She might imagine that a nice family found him and feeds him, and that he's really happy with them. She'll picture the dog playing, running around, having fun. Because of this fantasy, she doesn't have to feel sad about her dog running away. It's a fantasy. It's not real, but it keeps her pain away. Another defense mechanism she might use is what we call sublimation. Sublimation is different from fantasy because sublimation isn't about pretending. It's about turning negative emotions into something useful, practical. So the woman might start a dog training school. That way, by training dogs, perhaps she can help prevent other people's dogs from running away like hers did. In other words, with sublimation as a defense mechanism, the woman redirects her negative feelings about losing her dog into a positive, constructive activity.
Giving points and examples from the talk, describe the two defense mechanisms mentioned by the professor.
Prepare your response after the beep. Start speaking after the beep.
The professor discussed two defense mechanisms people use to deal with difficult situations: fantasy and sublimation. Fantasy is when someone uses their imagination to create a happy story in their mind to avoid feeling sad or helpless. For example, the woman in the lecture imagined that her lost dog was happy with a new family, playing and having fun. On the other hand, sublimation is about turning negative emotions into something useful or practical. In the lecture, the woman started a dog training school to prevent other dogs from running away, using her sadness about losing her pet in a positive way. Overall, both fantasy and sublimation are ways people unconsciously protect themselves psychologically from painful emotions by either imagining a different reality or channeling their negative feelings into constructive activities.